Welcome to another Silva reviews. This time, we got John Ahmed, also known as artaxeroth, in the chat. He came forth, he stepped into the light, only to face darkness with an art review. Let me pause that. Wait, actually, let me continue that. He asks, or he says, so it is an isometric environment design case for a game which is gonna be casual or something. you don't know. Can you comment about shadow, color, solidness, and everything you see wrong? Especially solidness. Yes. Okay, now I will stop the music. No, I'm darkness. I hate light. So you can comment. Okay, so this is gonna be a casual game. Nice painting. Nice face there. All right. So from a design point of view, I don't really know what is going to be the art style. I do know that everything feels blocky. And what I mean by that is that, for example, the shelves that you've made here, it looks a bit like Minecraft, is what I'm trying to say. In a lot of these, like this, the way you did the stairs, like the shelves. I know the shelves are usually squared, but you could add a lot more fluidity to your designs. These are incomplete. I get that. Also, I think it's because you are following the ISO grid too much, and the fact that everything is so blocky, it makes it so that anytime you add something that's rounded, it makes it feel off. So these like pillars here, they're like, you know, they're pretty much cylinders. It kind of feels off in comparison to the rest of the design. So what I would recommend is adding more like shapes to your structures, and by shapes I mean other than just like square, really neatly, really neatly done and sharp squares. Just add more fluidity or fluid shapes to your designs. Also, I feel like there's a lot of functionality lacking. So for example, how are these meant to be put here? Like, is it stuck with glued? Is it inside of the wood? You know, right now there's a lot of that kind of missing. Also, you're making the room kind of fancy with the pillars and like this whole area of the windows, these curved windows and stuff. It looks like a really nice area, and then you have designs, the rest of the designs in this area here at the bottom, and actually some of here too, but it's mainly at the bottom here. It make it feel like this will be like a poor kind of room, but then you have really rich looking and fancy looking elements in your environment. So you want to tie it together, in my opinion. You either want to tone down the fanciness of it, or you want to up the designs that you got going on here, up their fanciness a bit more. Like literally go and look for like stylish looking furniture and stuff like that, so you can match it, or the other way around. There's some things that I feel like maybe are missing. I like this idea that you have kind of like this tap thingy with the potions. So it's not, this is a good idea, but I feel like the functionality of it could be done a lot better. It feels very just like, oh, it's a square and you slap the tap on it, or whatever this is called, and you call it a day. I would not do that. I feel like you are lacking, especially for environment design. Sadly for you, everything needs to make sense even if it's cartoony, like a cartoony setting or not, which I don't think you're really going for cartoony. It's like semi-real. Nice guy. I like this guy's face. Also, it feels like if you're making a room, you need to really make it so that at first glance we can tell what kind of room this is. Right now, the only elements making suggesting what kind of person lives in a room is the potions and stuff like that. It seems to be some sort of wizard or even a witch. I think the cauldron with the green stuff in it reads quite like a witch. I see some pumpkins and stuff here, so maybe it is a witch. I don't know. And another thing is that I don't know if it's a male witch, a female witch. You should the room should reflect who lives in it, right? So so for example, I'm a trashy human garbage of a person, so my rooms are always messy. Just kidding. Like, think of who lives in here and really, really make the space feel like it's been occupied, you know? For example, you have a table here, but no chairs. You got to think about things like that. I mean, there's one chair here, a stool, rather. Like, where is his comfort? Does he have any comfort? Again, the way you drew the room, several elements of it indicate that he is not exactly poor, so he could probably afford to have a place to sit, a place to sleep, a place to eat, a place to. Of course, there's probably other rooms. I would imagine there's probably other rooms. Also, I'm not. Is this for a pet? For example, the stairs are seem to be kind of like normal in proportion with everything, but then the door is omega tiny. Like, look at how big. I feel like you have some proportion issues. I'm gonna go on a limb, and that's mainly the case. Look how giant these candles are in comparison to the table, and how big the potion place is compared to like everything, really. Like this potion thing, it doesn't seem to be far from the cauldron, which makes it like the cauldron compared to the windows, like makes the cauldron look big, but the cauldron compared to the potion thing, it makes this look really big. So when I start looking at elements in your image in proportion with one another, it starts falling apart. It starts making no sense whatsoever. So you need to rescale everything, in my opinion, so that it feels like, it feels like everything is sort of leveled for the person. For example, this table here, the moment I compare the book shelf here with the table, like, I don't know if this is a dwarf living in here. You know what I mean? We should clip all the. I feel like there is some proportion issues in the reviews. Everyone has proportion issues, and with these reviews, it's me repeating the same thing but in different words, or as different as possible. But yeah, like, that is a big deal. I feel like the shelf should be either way bigger or the. Actually, your solution is probably making this table way smaller, because I can see that there are other elements in the image that seem to be generally the same sort of scale. But scale is it's extremely important in environment design, right? Especially for a room like this. You gotta really think about that. Another thing is, as far as your color goes, I feel like it's too monotone looking, and then you have really contrasty colors throughout, and that makes it feel a little off. I like to see a better balance between really saturated colors and almost no color variation at all. For example, the wood here, I'm not saying you need to even change the textures. I personally probably would give more texture variation so that not everything is wood. However, I am seeing that some of this wood is different from another, which is a good thing. You're trying to show variation within the same wood texture, but the colors are all very similar, nearly identical. And especially in games like this, like a casual, if this is even going to be used, I don't know what is the usage of this. If this is what people will actually be looking at, or if it's going to be taken from this and put in 3D, I don't know. But hi Banana. I don't know what is going to be the usage of it, but you need to still care about the color and value of each main element to make them sort of their own. It's like you have it's like you have mini focuses throughout or mini focal points is what I meant to say, throughout the room, right? You have the desk, and then you have maybe you can have the shelf being actually this shelf here definitely reads as a focal point. That obviously the painting as well. So you should have throughout the whole room mini focal points, because everything needs to. There should be the main focal point, and then you have mini ones. It's the best way I can describe it. And yeah, like the floor tiles are not really making much sense. Like you have wood here, but it's so like think for example, if I were to take, I'm pretending that I'm in this room, right? If I were to take this tool and I would like to sit in front of the table, I feel like there's really barely no space between like the table and the wood floor tile. Like, and I also feel like the entrance here is stone, but you could make another division between the entrance to the room. And another thing is that the stone goes here, like you have this sort of stone. The floor tiles are not reading like a room to me. It's as simple as that. I feel like this sort of stone you use outside and not inside house or inside homes, right? But also it seems like this disappears. These white rock tiles here. It comes to a point here and then it stops. Like where's the rest? I would assume there would be more here to complete the entrance, but then again, like the entrance is you're spending too much time on the entrance as well. I would make just a little rock entrance here, if something. Just a little space here. Open up the main central area. Move this table to the center. Also, you have a lot of, as far as shapes go, you have a lot of elements going. I don't know if I should call this vertically or horizontally, but look at the direction of the table here. Everything that you have sort of goes in this direction, right? So I would maybe make the table go horizontal. Okay, if we're looking from the entrance, then it should be like horizontal to us instead of like vertical. If we're looking up to the table, so I would maybe make like a long-ish table with some seats on it, or maybe you could make like a leisure sort of area here, or move everything over to here, so you have a nice corner of comfort, you know. So again, you need to I would make this place look like it's a lot more lived in, and it's up to the comfort of whoever would be living in it, which I don't know who it is, and who lives in there should reflect into the environment as well. And there's smaller things that I feel like maybe you're not finished, and that's why you don't have it. But like, for example, you have a cauldron, but no utensils to it. Like, what do you do with this? You know, where okay, you have a cauldron here with all of this liquid. Where are you gonna throw it away? I maybe there's other rooms, and that's perhaps something you could indicate. There's other doors to like the kitchen or whatever. Maybe there's like a little kitchen area, but right now I feel like look at your image with common sense and try to put yourself in the room and try to live in it. Try to do basic stuff in it and see what starts breaking. And the moment I'm like, okay, you've done. He did the potion thing. Like, where does it go? You know what I mean? Like, does he open this, and does he have a little spoon? Does he have any spoon to move the liquid to the bottles? Like, how does he work in here, right? So put yourself in the shoes of the person that would be living here, and you'll start seeing that a lot of things would fall apart. It's a wizard home. Yeah, it's also I think it's because of the pumpkins and maybe some of the design and color choices here make it feel a bit like a witch. So I would watch out with that. But like, if it's a wizard, wizards tend to be very like comfort based kind of characters, at least in a general like generically speaking. So maybe you'd have like a big carpet, you know, add more comfort throughout, loads of books. Again, being kind of generic here, but this shelf is way too small. If you want to make it more rustic, then you gotta remove these windows. Like you gotta. It's way too fancy. There's like a few things here that are way too fancy. And yeah, don't make it look like a cave. Make it look like, unless it's the look you're going for, but then you're gonna have to change all these other things. Like right now, it just looks like a sidewalk. That's kind of how it's reading. So last thing is colors. As far as like saturation, you're going way too saturated for these colors. You gotta tone it down compared to everything else. It's good that it stands out, but it's like standing out way too much. And I'd say that is it. I think I mentioned everything that is like fundamentally kind of broken. I'd say the last thing is the design, general design sense. It looks like some areas of the image, or some designs here, look like IKEA fucking tables and stuff, and others are extremely medieval. There's a really big disconnection between those two. And also, it looks very simple. I think you could add a lot more character to your when you think of a shelf. I'll use a shelf as an example. When you think of a shelf, think of it as a character. That's how I would that's how I design environments. Every element is sort of a character that echoes the personality of its user, right? So based on some, actually, like this shelf here is way more interesting and has a lot more character than like a simple squared shelf like this one. So I would do more of this, including the shelf itself, not just the contents within it, but like what makes the shelf. I would think of it as a character as well. Look at assets. Go on Pinterest. Go like look at other games. There's plenty. For example, original. What is it called? Fucking the Divinity. Look at their rooms. There's plenty of rooms that read like wizards and stuff like that. That you could benefit from, learning some of their, how other people made their rooms look like, functional, but also have character to it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I'm kind of just repeating myself now. With that said, thank you for requesting an art review. Don't forget, tier 1 subs. You can request art and portfolio reviews in our Discord server under Art Reviews Room. And tier 2 subs, you can request paintovers. Everything is recorded, put in a nice playlist here on Twitch for easy access, and it's for free for everyone. Unless you're the one requesting, then you gotta be a sub, tier 1 or tier 2. All right, see you on the next video. Bye bye.